So today in the gym, I decided to just do a small full body workout that included some cardio. So I did 20 minutes on the treadmill, I did 5 minutes on walking, and then 5 minutes off, so running. So just so that way I could kind of get my heart rate up and build my tolerance up for activity, kind of burn more carbs rather than fat. So I focus on anaerobic activity for my cardio, and then I decided to do a lot of weightlifting today. So I did quite a few core exercises. I did dead bugs, I did mountain climbers, planks, and then I decided to do some leg exercises, just some compound movements, so like squats, leg press, and then I also decided to do quad extensions and then also hamstring curls, just at a little bit of a lighter weight because my compound movements were a little heavier today. And then I did some upper extremity exercises like bicep curls, incline bench press, and then tricep extensions. I wasn't trying to get a huge workout in, just enough to make me feel good, and I definitely feel kind of tired after work today too. But just being able to get my metabolism working and get my heart pumping, I didn't really get to a high VO2 max either, just because at the same time I'm trying to get my heart better, I'm trying to get my cardio better. So just being able to make sure that I'm staying active even though it's not super high intensity is better. So I was just trying to make sure that I wasn't doing a super crazy amount. So today in the gym, I decided to do some very light stuff. I decided to do the Stairmaster on level 2 for 15 minutes. I wasn't feeling too good, so I decided to start with that, since that's always a little bit harder for me. But it got my blood pumping and really got my body and my mind ready for the workout. I then decided to do some body weight squats just to continue that cycle of really getting the mind-body connection up and running because I was pretty tired today. And then I decided to do some weighted lunges just with a 10-pound dumbbell. I also did some curtsy lunges, and then I decided to go to the leg press and move my feet around and really see where I was feeling it, seeing how the actions of muscles change between different parts of the movement. Those compound movements feel a little bit better on my hips, so I decided to do that. I also did quad extensions, and then I also did some hamstring curls, just so that way I could really make sure that I was getting a kind of all over workout. I did some calf raises on the leg press, just so that way I was getting a little bit more of a full leg kind of day. I decided to do quite a bit of stretching. During my workout, I was really focused on the mind-body connection and how the brain really triggers all of the muscle contractions. I was thinking about which muscles were contracting versus which ones weren't. And so the ESPS versus the ISPS muscles, and how the motor units attach to the muscle fibers in order to innervate, and how you have gross motor movement and fine motor movement, and how that changes from one point of the muscle to the other, and just how different little muscles may have more innervations just because they may be used for more fine motor movement versus the bigger, more powerful muscles like your quads and your hamstrings, as well as your glutes, are used in order for the more powerful, more explosive movements. So I stayed pretty within the in the middle of endurance and strength today. I didn't really want to go too heavy, but I just wanted to make sure that I got a good workout. I'm pretty tired still after all of that and work, but it's definitely interesting how you're tired and you definitely can't lift as heavy. The mind-body connection is a little bit different than if you were super energized going into the gym and you felt like you had a full tank. So last night in the gym, I decided to do a little leg day. I was really thinking about the mind-body connection and what energy systems I was using, but then also what my RER probably was during each exercise and during my whole workout. I just decided to start out with some cardio. I did the treadmill for about 10 minutes, just get my blood pumping. I did a steady incline of 1.5 so that way my blood could get moving and my heart rate could get up. I then decided to go over to the leg press, since that was more of a compound movement at first, just to start out with my more powerful movements. Then I went and I did some goblet squats with a dumbbell. I did walking lunges with a dumbbell. And then I decided to do RDLs with 2 dumbbells, really focusing on what muscles were contracting versus which ones weren't in my body. Then I went to quad extensions and I thought about IPSP muscle contractions versus EPSP muscle contractions and how those occur in the sarcomeres and how the energy systems come and play into that. So like PCR, glycolysis, and anaerobic respiration. And then I did hamstring curls, and I just decided to go ahead and end with those. I started to really feel it. And then I just decided to end on the treadmill for a little cool down, just walking regularly, focusing on some diaphragmatic breathing to get my heart rate back down. And during that time, I was just thinking about going ahead and practicing my EPSP muscle contractions versus IPSP versus the no change, and how all of that works and from the brain to my muscles.